If you're online, we're just dealing with a tech issue right now. We'll be on the camera in a second, but give us a thumbs up if you can hear us. All right. All right, here we go. Cool. I think that should work. All right, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. All right. Everyone online, you can see us okay? All right. Whew. Always an adventure, right? We're going to begin on page number 10. Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov shevet achim gam yachad. הנה מה טוב שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
No, you're not seeing double. I am rabbinic intern James Fader, and we have Rabbi Katz with us for a special rabbinic forward Shabbat tonight.
This is a big deal. This is the first time you and I think have ever actually led a whole service together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's gonna be fun. But I'm so glad to be here with all of you tonight, to be sitting here together as we prepare to move into Shabbat. Every week, I feel like Shabbat comes at just the right moment, especially today, especially these past few months. It's felt like a lot, and Shabbat is an opportunity for us to slow down, to sit with one another, to be reminded of what's really important. During the week, we're always rushing around, trying to prove ourselves and prove our worth. But on Shabbat, we are reminded that we are good just as we are. We have inherent human dignity. And on Shabbat, we get to lean into that. And so whatever you are bringing with you from the week that was, that's okay. We're here together to do something special and something real. And in this world, in this time, being together as a community in prayer feels like a really nice way to spend a Friday night. For those of you who are new to Ner Tamid, just a few logistics before we formally welcome in Shabbat. If you need a restroom, there are bathrooms outside to the right, and we have a gender-neutral bathroom outside and to your left. If at any point tonight we need to exit the building, in addition to the doors that we came in, there are exits along the wall here. If you don't have a prayer book, you can grab one over there. We have large print copies available as well as hearing-assisted devices. And yeah, let's just be the happiest, most smiling congregation in Bloomfield tonight. So we turn to formally welcome Shabbat.
And we're going to call Diane Lavenda, our vice president, up to light our candles tonight. We're on page 2 and 3.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words as we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
We're on page 5 as we join together in Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh b'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta v'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha b'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. We're going to continue on page number 10 as we usher in Shabbat with the words of Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman, Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman, Meshoch Avdecha El Ritzonecha, Meshoch Avdecha Yananai El Ritzonecha Yarutz Avdecha Kim El mul hadaracha. Yedid nefesh. Yedid nefesh. Avarachaman. Yedid nefesh. Avarachaman. Meshoch avdecha. El ritzonecha. Meshoch avdecha. Yananai el ritzonecha.
We continue on page 20 with Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai v'nei Shabbat kabela yidai lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai v'nei Shabbat kabela Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad Ishmi'anu el hamyuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad V'shemu tziferet v'lihil. Let's hear you. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai v'nei Shabbat kabela yida lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai v'nei Shabbat kabela likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki hi mikor ha'beracha mirosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh v'makshav. Let's hear you. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai v'nei Shabbat kabela yida lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai v'nei Shabbat kabela. Verse 5, hitoreri kiva oreku uri shir daveri devor Adonai alai. Let's hear you. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai v'nei Shabbat kabela yida lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai v'nei Shabbat nekabe. Verse number 9. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala gam v'simcha uvetzola toch emunei am segula boi kala lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai v'nei Shabbat nekabela yida lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai v'nei Shabbat nekabela.
We remain standing and turn to page 28 for the Baruch Hu.
Yain, ain, ai, ain, 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 ai. Yain, ain, 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 ai. Yain, ain, 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 ai. Nine, 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 nine. Yain, nine, 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 nine. Yain, nine, 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 nine. Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
You may be seated. At the top of page 31. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv, Aravim.
Page 32. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha avta. Torah u'mitzvot, Hugim u'mishpatim, Otanu lemadeta. Alkein Adonai Eloheinu, B'shokmeinu u'vekumeinu, Nasiach bechukecha, V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'v'mitzvotecha, le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu, v'yorech yameinu, v'yorech yameinu, u'bahem negeh, yomam v'layla, yomam v'layla. V'avatecha tasir mimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Page 36. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha b'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam B'shivtecha b'veitecha, u'lechtecha b'derech, u'v'shofbecha u'v'kumecha, u'kshartam le'ot hayadecha, v'hayu letotafot bein einecha, u'ktavtam amezuzot beitecha, u'v'hisharecha, le'man tizkeru, v'asitem ekol mitzvotai, V'tem kidoshim le'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
We continue on page 39. On the bottom of the page, we read responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations shall be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Page 40.
כמוך באלים אדוני, כמוך נעתר בקודש, נורא תהילו ספר, נורא תהילו ספר. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלינו ואמרו, Let's hear you, lie, lie. Lie, 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 la, lie, la, 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 lie. Lie, lie, la, lie, la, 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 lie. La, lie, la, lie, la, lie, la, 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 lie. Yai, la, lie, lie. Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch ata Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Indented portion on the bottom. Ushmor seitenu, uvoenu. Lechaim u'shalom me'ata v'ad olam. Sometimes I lay under the moon and I thank God I'm breathing, and I pray, don't take me soon, 'cause I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds me, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and our children will pray. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day. Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomrei nu l'chaim.
Page 44.
Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Mikadashei, Mikadashei Shevi Shabbat, Kulam Yisbehu, Vayitangru mitvecha shal. Let's hear you. Yismechu v'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. V'hashvi ratzita bo v'kidashto Shabbat. Chemdad yamim oto karata Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Zecher Lema'aseh v'reishit Shabbat. Zecher Lema'aseh v'reishit Shabbat. Everyone together. Yismechu v'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat.
We rise and turn to page 46 for the Amidah.
Adonai sifatai tiftach, ufi agi tehilatecha.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. page 60.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech Adon Lecho HaShalom. Ki ata hu melech Adon Lecho HaShalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Yitov b'necha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'cho et u'b'cho shah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
A prayer for Israel, written by a classmate of mine, Hannah Ellenson. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, we ask that you bless the state of Israel and all of Israel's inhabitants. Makor Chaim, source of life, bless and strengthen those who defend the land and ensure their safe and speedy return home. Protect them and guide them. Kadosh Baruch Hu, holy and blessed one, show Israel's leaders your paths so that they may act with wisdom, courage, and dedication, and that they may be unwavering in their pursuit of peace. Strengthen their hearts, but keep their hearts from hardening. Adonai Poked, God who remembers, there are more than 120 people currently being held in Gaza, including Noah Argamani, age 26, Carmel Gat, 39, Hirsch Goldberg Poland, 23, Ofer Calderon, 53, Abraham Munder, 78, Dror Or, 48, Hamza Al-Zayadni, 22, Shiri Bibas, 32, Yarden Bibas, 34, and their sons Ariel, age 4, and Kafir, who is now 11 months old. Matir Asurim, freer of captives, return all those who are kidnapped safe and sound to their homes without the spilling of more innocent blood, without any more souls being tarnished by horrific acts. Baal Harachamim, master of compassion, help us hold the humanity and the heartache of the Jewish people, of all residents of the state of Israel, while also holding the humanity and dignity of the Palestinian people. As we are made in your image, remind us of your ways, spread over us a shelter of peace, and fulfill the vision of your prophets. They shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not take up sword against nation. They shall never again know war. And together we say,
Amen.
Amen.
I'll ask you to turn to page 253 as we have the opportunity, as each time we gather together, to offer a prayer for those in need of healing, a Mishaberach. And in a moment, I'll look around the room and ask you to add names, and you'll also see up on our screen the many names that are there as well. Mishaberach avotenu v'imotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah, hu yivarech et hacholim. The one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit. Let us say, Amen. Avotenu mikor habracha limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. Every hour, at 29 minutes past the hour, protesters block access to the Ministry of Defense compound in Tel Aviv for 240 seconds. During those 4 minutes, a protester, a different one every time, holds a microphone and shares a story about one of the hostages still being held in Gaza. The start time marks the start of Hamas's attack, which began at 6:29 a.m. on October 7th, and the duration of the disruption is a reminder of the original number of hostages that were taken, 240. Thank God. With more than 100 released last month, that number has since dropped to 128. But there are still 128 people being held in captivity. And after 77 days, their families fear that their cause is being forgotten. And so they protest every hour, demanding that more be done to bring their loved ones home. In our tradition, the plight of the hostage is sacrosanct. Pidyon Shvuyim, the redeeming of captives, is a sacred communal responsibility. While there is a great amount of discourse among the rabbis around the appropriate means and practical implications of securing their release, some of our greatest sages are unequivocal. According to Maimonides, there is no mitzvah as great as the redemption of the captives. If I had come across that quote 3 months ago, I wouldn't have understood it. We had been fortunate enough to live in a time where this wasn't an overwhelming Jewish concern. But I understand it now. The all-consuming ache and angst of knowing that children were dragged away at gunpoint, that there were days when the only food they had was a piece of pita bread, that they spent weeks without seeing the sun. The plight of the hostages awoke something new within me, something primal. I understand why our ancestors, for whom this was a regular threat, a regular occurrence, saw securing the release of hostages as the most important thing. Looking at the pictures of children taken, I felt that desperation, that willingness to do anything, to give anything to secure their release. And that made the experience of reading this week's Parsha very different. The focus of Parshat Vayigash is Joseph's power and the maturity and magnanimity he displays in forgiving his brothers for selling him into slavery. Joseph invites his entire family to move down to Egypt, which is key to moving the narrative along, to setting up the next book of Torah, Exodus. And any other year, I might have spoken to some aspect of that. But not this year. Reading this Torah portion at this time, all I could see was a family reunion after a long period of captivity. All I could see were those images of families being reunited at hospitals and on tarmacs across Israel. And so that's what I'm going to focus on tonight, on one element of Joseph's reunion with his family and the ways in which the stories being played out all around us allowed me to understand the scene, this Parsha, in ways that I couldn't have before, in ways that I wish we didn't have reason to understand today. Ani Yosef, ha'od avi chai. After a long and elaborate ruse designed to gauge his brother's remorse, Joseph finally reveals his true identity with those 5 Hebrew words. I am Joseph. Is my father still alive? That is his first overwhelming concern. Is his father, the father that he loved, the father who so loved him, still alive? He doesn't give his brothers even a moment to come to terms with the fact that this richly dressed, powerful Egyptian standing before them is in actuality the brother that they betrayed. Joseph, so careful and methodological up until this point, doesn't seem to be able to keep up the artifice. Ha'od avi chai, the words rush out of him. His grand reveal and his question are crammed into a single breathless sentence. He needs to know, is his father still alive? And he is. Jacob is 130 years old, but he's still alive, which means that later on in this portion, they are able to reunite in a tear-filled, joyous embrace. Upon her release from captivity, there was one thing that Yarden got desperately needed to know. Yarden was taken captive by Hamas on October 7th, along with her husband Alon and their 3-year-old Geffen. In the chaos, they were briefly able to escape. They ran, and knowing that Alon could run faster, Yarden handed their son into his arms. She was recaptured and spent 53 days in Gaza, not knowing what had happened to her husband and her child. Ha'od ishi uvni chai. Are my husband and my son still alive? They were, and they hadn't been recaptured. And on November 30th, they were reunited. And the smile on Geffin's face as he is wrapped in his mother's arms, words can't do it justice. And so Ronnie's helping me to bring that image right here. I can only imagine that this image echoes some of the joy that Joseph and Jacob felt. But of course, not every story turns out like theirs, like Yarden's and Joseph's. When Noam and Alma Or, ages 17 and 13, were released after 50 days in captivity, they were hoping to be met by their parents. Thoughts of their mother's embrace gave them strength during the darkest days of their lives. Ha'od avi ve'imi chai. Are my father and my mother still alive? Their uncle had to break the news to them that their father, Dror, had also been taken hostage and remains in captivity, and that their mother, Yonat, had been killed. On November 29th, Noah Argamani's mother, Leora, recorded a plea for her daughter's release. Leora has stage 4 cancer. She doesn't know how much longer she has, and her one wish is to be able to see her daughter again before she dies. I'm sure you'll recognize Noah. Videos of her abduction on the back of a motorcycle dominated the media in the first days after the attack. Ha'od imi chai. Is my mother still alive? That question must be weighing so heavy on Noah, who has been a hostage now for 77 days. These are just a few stories. There are so many reunions that have taken place. And every day we learn more details about lives upended. Just yesterday, in an interview in the New York Times, 16-year-old Shachar Calderon revealed that she was captured separately from her family. She had no idea if anyone was still alive. She was released after 52 days and was only informed of her impending release an hour before the transfer happened. And when she got into the van that would drive her to Egypt, she saw that her 12-year-old brother, Erev, was there too. After 52 days of wondering, Ha'od achi chai, is my brother, my little brother, still alive? She had her answer. Theirs was a tearful reunion deep in the heart of Gaza, and she said to herself, at least I have him. Hours later, they were reunited with their mother. Their father, Ofer, remains a hostage. We know now how isolated the hostages are kept, how little they know about what's happening, as Shachar's account attests to. On top of their physical suffering, which is immense, there is the deep emotional anguish of not knowing whether their loved ones are safe, are alive. Ani Yosef, ha'od avi chai. I am Joseph. Is my father still alive? Joseph spent decades in a fog of unknowing. and that frenzied nature of that 5-word sentence make a lot of sense now. As preserved in Torah, this scene contains a deeply empathic understanding of the human experience, of the experience so many have been forced to endure in these past few months. Of the 128 hostages still being held in Gaza, it is believed that 108 are still alive. They've been sitting in that limbo, sitting with those questions, vacillating between hope and dread for 77 days. Tomorrow, their loved ones will continue their protest in Tel Aviv, calling for their return. And here tonight in Bloomfield, New Jersey, I invite you to join your voices to theirs, pleading and praying for the release of all hostages, for an end to all bloodshed, and for a lasting peace. Too many lives have been lost. Too many families, Israeli and Palestinian, have been utterly broken. May those who are still alive, wherever they are, may the innocent, whomever they are, find their way home to the ones they love, to the ones who love them. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May it be God's will. Shabbat Shalom.
We're going to rise together, page 282, as we move toward Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishvechot adam ha, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך
Page 287.
הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. Our thoughts now turn to those who we have loved and who we've lost. As I call the name of your loved one, I'll invite you to rise and honor their memory. This Shabbat, we recall the following individuals: Charlotte Abelson, Israel Alter, Lillian Ainsfeld, Ida Becker, Stanley Berger, John Bernstein, Abe Billis, Rosalind Brownstein, Seymour Buckler, Malcolm Cole, Eleanor Dobro, Mamie Eisen, Shirley Fink, George Friedman, Benjamin Gersh, Hyman Glantz, Francis Glick, Arnold Goldsmith, Albert Goldstein, Bertha House, Esther Kimmel, Gerald Klein, Irving Korn, Cal Kramer, Claire Kirkland, Sonia Leone, Eddie Levy, Ellie Meliker, Theodore Meziner, Marie Claire Miller, Lillian Morgenstern, Moses Moskowitz, Catherine Moyer, Annie Ullman, Stanley Prometer, Carolyn Rosen, Berta Irina Roth, Mildred Rudolph, Reuben Sabin, Alan Schwartz, Stanley Shapiro, Harold Shepard, Gary Abraham Stoltzberg, Sally Strumpf, Robert Weiss, Sherry Weiss, and Florence Weinstein. and those who are in Shiva and their Shloshim periods of mourning. This list that I'm about to read is perhaps as long as any list that I've read in my tenure here, maybe even as long as any of the lists that we read during COVID. So I want to invite people to choose a name from this list. These are people within 1 month of losing someone, some of whom just did. And if you know someone on this list, pick them to reach out to and to check in with them. Claude Pomper, father of Karen Greenwald. Mark Wiener, cousin of Robin Wiener Renteria. Lorraine Hertz, grandmother of Noah Bunzel. Elsa Robbins, grandmother of Melanie Robbins. Faith Sorkin, mother of Jill Johnson. Steve Fetter, father of Stacy Fetter Seidenberg. Joshua Luft, nephew of Michael Luft. Gaden Caruth, mother of Neil Caruth. Rabbi Martin Rosenberg, father of Karen Rosenberg Berman. And Sidel Rickman, mother of Wendy Rickman Broth. Today we laid to rest Herbert Cooper, father of Debbie Shapiro. We'll be observing Shiva for him with 2 different services, one tomorrow night at Debbie's house in Bloomfield and the other on Tuesday night in the same place. We also announced the following deaths, though they have not been laid to rest. Florence Horowitz, mother of Farah Pak, who is a teacher in our religious school and also a member of our congregation. Funeral for Florence will be Sunday with Shiva Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights at Farah's house in Nutley. And I announced sadly the death of Joe Wojak, member of our congregation, partner of Diane Horowitz. His wake will be Tuesday from 4 to 8. The funeral will be held on Wednesday at 10 o'clock. And Diane and her family will be sitting Shiva from 5 to 8 at her house with a minyan at 6. We'll add to all of those names that were said, any names of people that you were observing yahrzeit for that may not have been on this list, or anyone that you are within your 1-year period of mourning for. We rise together. Page 294. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah. B'yamad yivrach yirutei v'yablich malchutei. V'chayachon u'v'yomachon u'v'chayet l'chol Beit Yisrael. B'agala u'v'zman karib v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei almaya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'rechu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata. Dushbachata v'nechamata. Damiram b'yama v'imru amen. Yehei shalom rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'akol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'akol Yisrael v'imru. Please be seated. So just a few announcements. We're going to go quiet really for the next week. Just so you know, the office is closed in between Christmas and New Year's. Of course, if there's an emergency, please get in touch. But if you leave a note, for example, in our mailbox at the synagogue or our voicemail, we may not get it so quickly. So if it's an emergency, please call the emergency number over this week. Cantor Greenberg will be answering that number. In addition to that, we have services tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., Torah study at 8:30. Lanny's actually going to be reading Torah, and so come celebrate and support him in his reading. 65th anniversary of his bar mitzvah. His bar mitzvah now can get Social Security. So I also want to just give a plug for Saturday morning services. It's holiday weekends. It's very hard to make sure that we can get a minyan. If you can and you can turn out for those services, it would mean a lot to us to make sure that we've got our 10, especially because we tend to have a bit of a skeleton crew in terms of clergy during the services on break. In addition to that, look, we've got a lot of stuff going on, kicking off once the new year starts. I'm just going to give one plug. The first weekend in February is our big gala. Tickets are already on sale. Hopefully you can celebrate with us. It is a, quote, kidless bar mitzvah, which means we're going to have all the trappings of a bar mitzvah without the teenagers. And so hopefully you can join us for this adults-only event, and a way to raise good money for our congregation. So with that, we're going to conclude tonight. Afterwards, feel free to grab a cookie, meet someone new. I want to give a big shout out to James's parents who are here. Just raise your hand so we can say hello. The reason I'm having them raise their hand is because they don't realize just how much we love James. Make sure to tell them that at Oneg. And James, beautiful job. That was not only, I think, the best sermon that I've heard you give, but also one of the best sermons I've heard, period. And that was incredible today. Moved us so much. And thank you to Ed, of course, and to Ronnie. We're going to conclude with the singing of Oseh Shalom, a call for peace. Oseh Shalom bimroma, uyaseh shalom. Roma, uyaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimroma, uyaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh shalom bimroma, uyaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimroma, uyaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimroma, uyaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Just your voices. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.